The image I chose for my site Exegesis is the logo of the Evangelical Covenant Church. It's the denomination that I grew up in and where I worked for 20 years as a youth pastor. I have since left that denomination for the United Church of Christ. The logo, as it says on their literature, that it depicts four people united in Christ. People serving people in God's name, and people bringing people to Christ. The design is symbolic of four people facing north, south, east, and west. Each one's arms are outstretched, indicating the church's outreach and mission and service to the world. The four are part of the whole, yet their hands do not touch, symbolizing their unity in the freedom. The geometric arrangement of the four figures results in a cross-like pattern representative of the center of our faith. The center circle symbolizes the unity and the bond of fellowship, which we call the covenant. So the mission of the Covenant Church is outreach and service to the world. Outreach in mission, evangelism, and also caregiving. The logo also speaks to the covenant's commitments to unity, freedom, and fellowship. For the local church of my field education, First Covenant Church in Omaha, the mission was talked about a lot, but they never really seemed to get a strategy together to reach out to the community or the world for evangelism or help. A lot of evangelical churches had a strategy that they enacted, and our church didn't seem to want to do that. The comment was once made about the church that the more time they spend analyzing themselves to figure out the best approach for its mission, the more it became focused on itself. It was an evangelical church that really did not like doing evangelism, which is understandable. The church emphasized unity and fellowship as they met often to eat together and do events that strengthen relationships. Many would call the church a warm, friendly environment, which I think is true. As the logo shows the arms intertwined between people, there's a real family feel at the church, which was great for people who are in the family, not so great for people not in the family. The problem with the family metaphor is that a family is a tough group to become a part of and not feel like the outsider. And sometimes families are a little dysfunctional, meaning they are sometimes problems that they don't like to talk about. In a survey called The Pulse, which was done in 2012, the results showed that the church was a very kind place, but not a very honest one. This was a very telling of the leadership and decision-making of the church, which is controlled by a few people, even though it is a congregational church. There are a few key individuals that feel like they almost own the church, and it is very rare that they do not get their way. But at the same time, the congregation still elects those people to the positions they serve as chair or treasurer, assuming that other people would have no idea how to run the church. In 2002, the Covenant logo added some colors to embrace diverse culture and fostered the sense that the denomination is becoming multicultural. Its new church plants and churches that were transferring into the denomination were ethnic churches, if that's now an appropriate term. Multicultural does not describe First Covenant Church. The demographics showed that it was an all-white church of middle to upper class people, fairly conservative in theology and lifestyle, and very content to stay that way. They were wrestling with questions of inclusion of LGBT people, but limited their participation to worship attendance and did not allow them to serve in leadership. There were a couple of people who were openly gay at the church, and the church was okay with them, but there would have been a lot more judgment if that person brought a partner back to the church and worshiped with them. In my opinion, First Covenant is not making a big impact on Omaha or the world. It does fine services and helps its congregation, but if the church blew up tomorrow, the question would be, would the neighborhood really miss them? and I'm not sure that they would.